So if you're looking for stuff and you just want to have some merino wool, I would recommend Black Ovis, and just look for it on Camo Fire. CAMOFIRE. That's the app. Download it on your phone. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. The one I'd recommend the most, honestly, is a brand I haven't even worn, and I can recommend them based on that supply chain, and that's Duckworth. I would go with Duckworth. I didn't know about them before I bought stuff, but Duckworth is definitely check them out. See that lone pine up on that hill over there? What are we actually doing right now? The kids are just wild out there. They're wild. But they're having a good time, you know? They're having a good time. This is Untamed Unbroken, the Adventurer's Guide, and I'm your host, Blake Bredesen. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Untamed Unbroken. Today, we are heading to the gear bin. We're going to talk about some clothing, and that clothing is merino wool. Some of you probably know quite a bit about merino wool, wear it. Others, you just think that maybe it's not necessary, and I'm here to tell you merino wool is a game changer. So merino wool comes from merino sheep. There are other types of sheep. There's the old regular sheep, which I couldn't tell you the breed of, just kind of like the regular wool. But merino wool comes from merino sheep. And it's known for, wool in general is known for a lot of things: temperature regulation, moisture management, softness, durability, odor resistance is a big one, and the sustainability of it. That's kind of wool in general. Specifically, merino wool. Traditional wool is more coarse, itchy. That's where wool gets its bad rap, is from traditional wool. But merino wool is way better. So did you get that? So I've been using merino wool for a handful of years now, probably around 5. I've always had wool socks. That was a big one. My favorite go-to brand for wool socks is Darn Tough. And I'll go through a few brands after we just talk about kind of the benefits of merino wool and why you should really have this in your closet, in your gear bin, in your gear chest, whatever you call it, when you're out on a hike, when you're out in the wilderness, when you're just outside. One, in for sure when it's cold. Like if we live in Minnesota, when we go outside to play with the kids, I'm wearing wool on my skin. It's just because it's the best for moisture management and temperature regulation. I also will wear wool in the summer. Again, because it is excellent at regulating your temperature. It literally, like just wearing a t-shirt, a merino wool t-shirt, keeps you warmer than that traditional t-shirt in the winter. And it keeps you cooler than a traditional t-shirt in the summer. It does better than synthetic things like polyester or dry fit shirts, like that type of thing, synthetic. It's better than those for sure. Plus you get that odor resistance. It doesn't stink. So say you're on a canoe trip for 5 days. You could be wearing the same shirt for 5 days and it's not going to stink all that much. What I'll do is just bring 2 shirts. Usually I'll bring a couple shirts and I'll wear one for a couple days, give it a rinse in the lake, let it hang dry, and then throw the other one on and just rotate them every 2 or 3 days. They literally don't. It's amazing, the odor resistance and antibacterial properties of wool. And they're soft. There's some brands are definitely softer, just I don't know, depending on how they're processed. Some brands are softer than others, and I'll give you an example of that here in a second. But merino wool is one of my go-tos. Definitely for that base layer against the skin, but I also love the, like a quarter zip with a hood on it. I use those hunting all the time. I wear them every day, just in everyday life, wear them to work, all that stuff. Wear those and then throw fleece over it for some added warmth if you need to. Going on a hike wearing just a merino wool shirt is it's a game changer. Let's talk a little bit about the origin. So, like we said, merino wool originates from merino sheep, which is a breed that's known for its soft and fine wool. They're bred primarily in Spain, but today Australia and New Zealand are the leading producers. Merino, it's been kind of refined over time, and just kind of optimizing that. Take that out. That's just a bunch of bullshit. Cut. We talked about the benefits. I'm going to list the 5 major benefits right now. Temperature regulation. It's going to keep you warm in cold conditions. It's going to keep you cool in warmer weather. Like, I don't know exactly how that works, but it's incredible. Moisture management. Its ability to wick away moisture from the body. I was reading something about how it will soak up about 35% of its weight without even feeling wet, if that makes any sense. So it'll wick away moisture, 35% of its weight, and it won't feel wet. Softness, but still durable. They're extremely fine. They're soft and they're non-itchy. Merino wool. Noted. Merino wool, non-itchy. And the odor resistance has got to be the best thing. Antibacterial and resistant to odors. You can wear this stuff for a few days in a row when you're out on trips. Just makes it a lot easier. You're not wearing cotton. You're not having to worry like the synthetic fibers that like a workout shirt that's polyester and spandex, stretchy, whatever. Those things stink so fast that sometimes it's unbearable for yourself, let alone others. Number 5, sustainability. It's a natural fiber. It's renewable, biodegradable. You shear the sheep or whatever. Yeah, I think it's called shearing. Typically shorn once a year. It's a process that's step 1, I guess, of the process is, 1, you got to have those sheep somewhere, raising those sheep. Hopefully it's in a place where it's kind of free range, and then they're just rounded up once a year to get shorn. And then that wool is taken and then cleaned, sorted. I don't know all the steps. I have a few of them listed out here: carding and spinning, weaving and knitting, dyeing and finishing. That's kind of the production process of it. So there's different types of weaves. This is going to be different for socks, hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, etc. Jersey knit is common in lightweight apparel, t-shirts. Rib knit offers a little more stretch for like winter hats or socks. Interlock is heavier and more durable, which is ideal for outdoor and performance wear. So when you're going out and buying wool from somebody, wool clothing from a company, you can look at some things like that. Jersey knit, it's that common and lightweight. Rib knit offers more stretch, but the interlock is that heavier, more durable, which is ideal for the outdoors. Okay, you want that durability to the knit. Let's get into some brands. The two main brands that I have, one is called Black Ovis, the other is called First Light. Hunting brands. There are other brands that are non-hunting, like Icebreaker is a pretty pretty well-known one. That's a company out of New Zealand. Smart Wool, Woolmark, Patagonia has wool. So there's companies out there that have it. I think my favorite, although I have never worn their products, it's just my favorite for just based on principles. And that is Duckworth Company out of Dillon, Montana. So look them up. It's all 100% American made. It's the sheep live in Dillon on a range somewhere in Dillon, Montana, living wild, living free. And that's where they get their wool, is from a herd of Merino sheep just hanging out in Dillon, Montana. And then they send it to various cities throughout the U.S. to go through that production process. But it's 100% supply chain, United States. So I like that about them. The two I just discussed are made in China currently. At least the shirts that I have were made in China. Black Ovis and First Light. Now, comparing the two, if you're going out there and you're getting some stuff, First Light is softer, I think. They have a little more stretch to their shirts. They're a little more comfortable. They're also a little pricier compared to Black Ovis. But they do have sales. They'll have 20, 30, even up to 40% off occasionally throughout the year. That's First Light. Super good brand. But again, like when you're going to go out and buy merino wool, you're going to be spending some money anyway. And it's going to be worth it. One tip with merino wool, or wool in general, even socks, really, even though I put all my socks in the dryer. But do not put your merino wool shirts in the dryer, or pants if you have those, or your base layers. Don't put them in the dryer. They will shrink. They will shrink. I did it to a hat. Now that hat fits my 2-year-old perfectly. So there's that. Black Ovis, that brand, I'm an XL in that brand. But First Light, I'm a large. So there's size differences. Be wary of that. But Black Ovis does have, I do like their stuff. It is nice. It's not quite as soft as First Light's, but it is merino wool. It's still good. There's no itchiness to it. Black Ovis can be found a little cheaper on this app called CamoFire. Now, CamoFire is basically a sale app. They work with a bunch of brands. They even have, I think they have some Sitka stuff too. Sitka is another brand out there. Kuyu is another brand out there that they offer merino wool base layers, mid layers. Another one, Origin USA, is another hunting brand that offers Origin Hunt is their hunt line. Origin Hunt. You go to originusa.com or something like that. That is sweet because that is also another 100% American supply chain, made in the USA. They just don't have quite as many products out there and available. And I think right now, everything they have on their hunt brand is camo, so they don't have any just solid colors. Like First Light has gray, they have black, they have green, they have a brown. They might even have another one, I don't know. But kind of think earth tones for sure on the hunt brands anyway. Same thing with Black Ovis, kind of the same colors. just different variations of those colors. But Camo Fire, when Black Ovis items will come up, you can get them 40% off, 50% off, sometimes even up to 60 or 70% off. I have seen them for on the Camo Fire app. So if you're looking for stuff and you just want to have some merino wool, I would recommend Black Ovis and just look for it on Camo Fire. CAMOFIRE. That's the app. Download it on your phone. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. The one I'd recommend the most, honestly, is a brand I haven't even worn, and I can recommend them based on that supply chain, and that's Duckworth. I would go with Duckworth. I didn't know about them before I bought stuff, but Duckworth is definitely check them out. They got some good stuff. Socks. I love my merino wool socks. Darn tough. Based in Vermont. Literally, you wear a hole in them, you send them in, they send you another pair. Like, they have a lifetime guarantee. There's other brands that make socks. Wigwam is another brand that I have a couple pairs of. I really like those. I think I have those for like skiing, snowboarding. So they're those knee-high socks. Really like those. There are other types of wool out there, okay? I'm going to name a few. Cashmere wool, which is derived from the cashmere goat. It is limited. There's a limited supply. It's very, very soft. It's very, very expensive. Lamb's wool. Lamb's wool comes from the first shearing of a sheep, typically at about 7 months old. Soft, smooth, elastic. Typically hypoallergenic and less itchy than other types. Shetland wool, originating from the Shetland Islands in Scotland, from the Shetland sheep. Durability, warmth, coarser than merino or cashmere, but favored for its authentic rustic appearance. Generally less expensive, but more costly than regular sheep's wool. There's alpaca wool. I've seen alpaca wool socks out there. Hypoallergenic, warm, soft. Typically more expensive than regular sheep's wool. There is mohair wool from the Angora goat. It's kind of a silky, has a high sheen, I think, and it's kind of shiny. The Angora, this is one I don't know if I would wear. Maybe I would. Angora wool comes from the Angora rabbit. Softness, fluffy, lightweight, usually on the higher end of that pricing spectrum if you're interested in that. Anyways, there are other types of wool out there. Merino wool is just, I think, because of its high quality, its softness, its durability, and price-wise, it just is the popular pick. It's more readily available than some of those other kinds of wool. Yeah, so there you have it. If you don't have any merino wool, go get some. You're not going to regret it. It's a little pricey, can be, but if you want to start entry level, I would go with Black Ovis. Get it on Camo Fire, and you'll save a little money that way. Otherwise, head over to Duckworth, First Light, Sitka, Smart Wool, Icebreaker. There's a lot of them out there. At least a base layer on your, like a base layer top, base layer bottom, at a minimum for wool. At least if you're out here in the Midwest, or you're somewhere where it's cold and you're hiking and you're sweating and then then it dries. Like, wool is going to be a game changer when you're out in the wilderness. It's going to make your trip so much better. I promise you that. Stay wild. Thank you for sticking around. If you've enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a rating and review, even one word, it helps a ton. Sincerely appreciate you guys. Thank you all, and we'll see you on the next one. Stay wild.
You've been listening to Untamed, Unbroken, a Lone Pine Adventures original podcast.